reading from God Calling, September 19th. Full joy. These things have I spoken unto you, that your joy may be full. Remember that the truths I teach you have all been given to you too, as to my disciples of old, with the idea of giving you that overflowing joy. Search for the joy in life. Hunt for it as for hidden treasure. Love and laugh. Delight yourselves in the Lord. Joy in me. Full joy it was I wished my disciples to have. I intended them to have it. Had they lived my teachings out in their daily lives, they would have had fullness of joy. In spite of all the negativity and all the ugliness that goes on around in our lives, you know, it's one thing to know what's going on around you, but it's another to put everything into their category, right? And you still have to live life, and you have to live it full and loving and caring, and you move forward and you persevere in spite of anything that comes to us. And we're strong people, and we know how to overcome the challenges that are thrown onto us. And we've learned that because we've had so many thrown to us. And that's how we survive. And in spite of all that, we have the ability to love one another. We have the ability to change what's going on in our lives. We have the ability to visualize what our future will entail. And if everybody would think positive and all think about a glorious future with so much love and everyone that cares for each other, and no more disease, no more anger, just caring and love and helping one another. That's what we were supposed to do. That's what we were made to do. And in our journey here on earth, we've learned to open our mind's eye, our third eye, as we call it. It's that little innermost place within you that you and only you can go into and think and be quiet. And that's where God is too. Don't forget, He lives right there with you in the innermost of your being. And that's where you develop your relationship with our Lord. And you have that just within you, and no one else can take that from you. No one. Unless you choose to allow that to happen. When making a decision, if the answer comes to you while you're looking to the right, that's a good way. That's a good instinct to follow. If your decision comes while you're looking to the left, I see that as you're just being tantalized to do something that's not in with the norm. They say that evil lurks on the left and goodness is on the right. And I choose to believe that, as I remember in cartoons, or they always have a devil depicted on one shoulder on one side on the left, and they have the angel on the right side, and you've got them both whispering into the person's ear, trying to, persuade them to go their way. And so that's very true in our everyday lives. You have to make a decision every morning. Who are you going to give your life to? The Lord? Are you going to let Him lead you into goodness and happiness? Or are you going to take things into your own hands and side with the ugly side of life with Satan? And you can't walk both. You can't keep a foot in each door. It just doesn't work that way. You might as well just stay with Satan, because that's where you're at. With God, everything is pure. Everything is pure in heart. He knows your heart. He reads your heart. He knows it, so you can't bluff Him. And the one thing to do, if you're saying, well, I don't know how to do that, or I've never done that, you need to take some time out of this busy world and just sit in silence. And soon everything comes to you. You start to see things more clear. That's that innermost peaceful self, that place where you can go. Well, good early morning, friends. It's me, Angel Wallace, and it's 5:52 a.m. here where I live. It's September the 19th, 2020. And today I'm going to be covering Ruth Bader Ginsburg. This article is from thenation.com. It says, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, my most fervent wish is that I will not be replaced until a new president is installed. May her memory be a blessing, and may we fight to assure that she will truly rest in power. By John Nichols. And this was dated yesterday at 11:22. So that was September the 18th. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg swore an oath to defend the Constitution when she joined the United States Supreme Court in August of 1993. With true faith and allegiance to that oath, she made it clear in the last years of her remarkable tenure that she did not want Donald Trump to choose her successor. Before the president was elected, Justice Ginsburg said, "I can't imagine what this place would be. I can't imagine what the country would be with Donald Trump as our president. For the country, it could be 4 years. For the court, it could be, I don't even want to contemplate that." The senior liberal on a delicately balanced high court, where she had served as a courageous and consistent champion of women's rights, civil rights, and voting rights, spoke those words in July of 2016. For 4 long years, Justice Ginsburg kept the faith, battling cancer and advancing years. Just days before her death, Friday, at age 87, the justice dictated a statement to her granddaughter, Clara Spera, that read, "My most fervent wish is that I will not be replaced until a new president is installed." That was not her wish alone. Tens of millions shared it. Now, however, the dread prospect is upon us. Thousands gathered outside the Supreme Court building Friday night to mourn. They recognized immediately that we must honor Justice Ginsburg's service, not merely because, as Chief Justice John Roberts said Friday evening, our nation has lost a jurist of historic stature, but because of this remarkable women's epic role in advancing the cause of gender equity. Justice Ginsburg was a trailblazer, the second woman to serve on the Supreme Court, the first Jewish woman, and a voice for all Americans, not just the wealthy and powerful, said Alliance for Justice President Nan Aaron. Justice Ginsburg blazed trails on her way to greatness, authorizing and joining opinions that advanced women's equality, LGBTQ rights, reproductive freedoms, and so many other protections so many hold dear. She was a giant, and we shall not see her likes again, said American Constitution Society President Russ Feingold, a former member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, who observed that by means of her towering intellect and unflinching courage, she blazed a path toward a better life for American women and all Americans. This is a time to grieve and to reflect. Yet, Justice Ginsburg has died in a presidential election year just 46 days before Donald Trump will face his day of reckoning with the voters. It does not disrespect the justice's memory to speak in this moment of honoring the notorious RBG's most fervent wish. So for those of you that don't understand what was going on in the beginning, she did stand up for women, and she did stand up for a lot, and You know, she fought hard for women's rights. Good or bad or indifferent, she did fight hard. So I find this article to be a little strange in that it's like, let me push this in your face. This was her last thought. You know, like everybody knew the last thought. But then it just tells us that her last thought was just given to her granddaughter. And we've already known what she wanted to do years ago. So all this is just all, you know, pomp and circumstance. It was just to try to give this, you know, some reflection on what their thoughts are, what they want, you know. This is all driven by the Democrat Party, the cabal. You know, everybody's a puppet. She was a puppet. Everybody in the Congress, puppets. There's people that are higher above them. They're the ones that rule what goes and takes place. And so now they're pushing this to our faces that she didn't care for President Trump. But, you know, I find it strange that this lady had died back in 2019. I saw it from my very own eyes. I just happened to be watching Fox News. And out came her picture, and it said Ruth Bader Ginsberg, and they gave her birth and death date. Within seconds, they withdrew that and never talked about it. But a lot of us saw it, and pictures were taken. So I found that interesting that, you know, we've known back then since she died is that they had her probably on ice, waiting for the right moment to, because they're still hoping that they have a chance at the presidency. See, this is a delusional mind, a delusional ideology. This is their satanic cult, their beliefs. You know, this is no different than you people believing in what you believe in. These people are part of the satanic world. They believe in it, and they all strive for the same goal. And they all work together. And you hear him, President Trump, but sometimes he'll emphasize that. Why is it that they all work together? You know, they fight amongst each other, but they all work for the common goal. And that was one thing he was trying to stress when he first came into office with the Republican senators. And he's finally cleaned house. And now the Democrats have to clean house. And so today they lost what they thought was going to be their ace in the hole. And it's not going to happen, unfortunately. And we heard the other night when President Trump was in Michigan, I believe, he gave about 3 or 4 names of people that he thought would be a good selection for the Supreme Court justice position. So, I just found that interesting. What are your thoughts on Ruth Bader Ginsburg? You know, they're all the last names of the people that I spoke about in here. They're all Jewish people. And we know that the cabal, you know, they're all Jewish. They're the bad side of the Jewish. They're not the good side. And, yeah, that's why this came to my mind, because they all had this one on ice. They didn't want to explain or tell anybody that she had already died. And I find it very strange that I already saw an article that says she was buried on the 18th. Or, excuse me, she was buried on the 18th. But yet she died on the 18th. So how do you announce a death and then bury her immediately? Well, the reason why you want to bury it immediately is so that no one can question it. Okay? They think we're really stupid, but we're not. And that's the point I was trying to emphasize. Here's a statement from Donald J. Trump, at Real Donald Trump. Statement from the President on the passing of Supreme Court Associate Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Today our nation mourns the loss of a titan of the law. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg served more than 27 years as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, notably just the second woman to be appointed to the court. She was a loving wife to her late husband, Martin, and a dedicated mother to her 2 children. Renowned for her brilliant mind and her powerful dissents at the Supreme Court, Justice Ginsburg demonstrated that one can disagree without being disagreeable toward one's colleagues or different points of view. Her opinions, including well-known decisions regarding the legal equality of women and the disabled, have inspired all Americans and generations of great legal minds. A fighter to the end, Justice Ginsburg battled cancer and other very long odds throughout her remarkable life. Our thoughts and prayers are with Ginsburg family and their loved ones during this difficult time, and may her memory be a great and magnificent blessing to the world. That was done at 7:34 p.m., and that was yesterday, September the 18th. In fact, President Trump didn't know of her passing until after the rally, and I have video to show you his expression. Well, Ginsburg was born to Jewish parents in Brooklyn on March 15, 1933. She received her bachelor's degree from Cornell University, and she attended Harvard Law School and received her LLB from Columbia Law School, where she later taught law. And in 1954, she married Martin D. Ginsberg, a prominent attorney, and was by his side until his death in 2010. And she was known as an indefatigable warrior for women's rights. In 1971, she helped launch the Women's Right Project of the American Civil Liberties Union, later serving as the ACLU's General Counsel from 1973 to 1980, and on the National Board of Directors from 74 to 80. She argued 6 landmark cases on gender equality before the United States Supreme Court, winning 5 of them. And along the way, the justice nicknamed Notorious RBG secured an unexpected position as a pop culture icon who inspired Tumblr accounts, t-shirts, key rings, and even their own action figures. My Own Words, a 2016 compilation of her speeches and writings, became a bestseller. 2 2018 films on the basis of sex and documentary RBG brought her story to the big screen. When we asked her several years ago how she wanted to be remembered, RBG filmmakers Betsy West and Julie Cohen said in a statement Friday, she said with characteristic modesty, just as someone who did whatever she could with whatever limited talent she had to move society along in the direction that I would like it to be for my children and grandchildren. So the Supreme Court now is wrestling with technical issues. So during Ginsburg's tenure on the court, the computing industry rose in economic prominence and quickly created some of the country's biggest and richest companies. That meant Ginsburg wrestled with important tech cases that reached the Supreme Court. And one thorny dispute concerned how information is treated across international borders, specifically whether Microsoft would have to turn over information sought under a U.S. search warrant, even though the information was stored in a data center in Ireland. If Congress wants to regulate in this brave new world, it should do it, Ginsburg said in a 2018 hearing on the matter. That's exactly what happened, vacating the case so the justices didn't have to render a decision. Ginsburg wasn't sympathetic to one tech giant, Apple, siding with the majority in a 2019 ruling that let iPhone users sue Apple over App Store monopoly issues. Apple also lost out when the court rejected Apple's appeal of a case involving ebook price fixing. Record labels came out ahead in 2005. Decision concluding that peer-to-peer music file sharing companies could be held liable for copyright infringement. Ginsburg was in the majority there too. The Supreme Court is playing an increasingly important role in the technology domain. The biggest case on the way pits two giants against each other. Software maker Oracle versus search leader Google. Now that case concerns whether Google was permitted to freely use programming interfaces in Android that came from Oracle's Java programming language. Many more companies could be affected, though, if the Supreme Court finds those interfaces are, as Oracle argues, covered by copyright rules. Another case on the way concerns whether Trump will be allowed to block followers on Twitter. In 2019, a lower court said he couldn't. Widespread tributes. As the news spread Friday evening, the dawn of the Jewish New Year, many more tributes poured in from politicians, entertainers, business leaders, sports figures, and regular Americans who looked up to Ginsberg and wanted to thank her for her legacy. And today on the Jewish New Year, we recall the principle of Tikkun Olam, which says, the world is flawed, and our role is to leave it better than it was. Designer Kenneth Cole tweeted, Ruth Bader Ginsburg has done that.
Beto O'Rourke, he did the story, and, you know, he was going to defeat Ted Cruz. He was going to do all these things. Ted beat him, and I helped a lot, too. I was with Ted all the way, and I think Ted's appreciated it. But here, I even said, I'm putting Ted Cruz as one of the people for the Supreme Court, right? And you know why I did it? You know why I did it? Because I wanted to make sure that I had somebody on the list. We have about 45 unbelievable people. Unbelievable, the smartest, the best, the absolute creme de la creme, right? The best minds in the country, conservative, they believe in the Constitution, okay? You know, little things like that. But I said, you know, I have to have somebody that we're going to make sure we get approved. And the only one I could think of is Ted, because he's going to get 50 Republican votes and he's going to get 50 Democrat votes. He'll do anything to get him out of the Senate. But I joke when I say that to Ted. But I say it all the time. Ted's the only man I know can get 100 votes from the Senate. Every single senator's going to vote for him. But he's a great guy, and he's a brilliant guy, and he's been great. He's been really great. I kid when I say that. But, you know, just died? Wow. I didn't know that. I just, you're telling me now for the first time. She led an amazing life. What else can you say? She was an amazing woman. Whether you agreed or not, she was an amazing woman who led an amazing life. I'm actually sad to hear that. I am sad to hear that. Thank you very much.
Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a diminutive yet towering women's rights champion.
I, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
She became the court's second female justice when she was appointed by President Bill Clinton in 1993.
That I will support and defend the Constitution.
She was known for digging deep into case records and for being a stickler for following the rules. She was affectionately called the notorious RBG for her defense of the rights of women and minorities. In the most divisive of cases, she was often at odds with the court's more conservative members, but she was perhaps personally closest on the court to Antonin Scalia, her ideological opposite. Ginsburg once explained that she took Scalia's sometimes biting dissents as a challenge to be met.
We were different, yes, in our interpretation of written texts, yet one in our reverence for the court.
Ginsburg authored powerful dissents in cases involving abortion, voting rights, and pay discrimination against women. During her time on the court, she struggled with health issues, including bouts with cancer beginning in 1999.
All this talk about tax penalty, it's all beside the point.
In her final years on the court, Ginsburg was the unquestioned leader of the liberal justices, as outspoken in dissent as she was cautious in earlier years. Walter Ratliff, The Associated Press.
I see where President Trump announces the new 1776 Commission to promote patriotic education in nation schools. It's an alternative to leftist brainwashing, and I think that's a wonderful wonderful thing that he is doing, because we have found out that what we've been taught is wrong. The history that we thought we knew isn't. The world that we thought we knew isn't. Okay, so President Trump announced the formation of a new 1776 commission during a speech at the National Archives Museum on Thursday, and this created a new commission that will work to instill principles of patriotic and pro-American education in defiance to the left-wing school and university systems, because they've all been pushing their ideology and their own opinions on our children. And they've been putting their own indoctrinations into our way of teaching, and they infiltrated the schools as well. They got to have their puppets in key businesses. The President spoke of the need for the new commission in light of the vision championed by the cultural left, citing the New York Times 1619 Project and critical race theory anti-white teachings pervasive throughout Fortune 500 companies and federal government agencies. The President issued an executive order banning critical race theory brainwashing at the beginning of the month. The 1776 Commission will work to promote patriotic education and defend American heritage and character. It's likely the organization will create curriculum that celebrates the American legacy as leftists in public school and university systems work relentlessly to attack it. It says here, our mission is to defend the legacy of America's founding, the virtue of America's heroes, and the nobility of the American character, Trump said, of the Commission's goals. We must clear away the twisted web of lies in our schools and classrooms and teach our children the magnificent truth about our country. We want our sons and daughters to know that they are the citizens of the most exceptional nation in the history of the world. And these radicals have been aided and abetted by liberal politicians, established media, and even large corporations, Trump said. Whether it is the mob in the street or the cancel culture in the boardroom, the goal is the same: to silence dissent, to scare you out of speaking the truth, and to bully Americans into abandoning their values, their heritage, and their very way of life. We are here today to declare that we will never submit to tyranny. We will reclaim our history and our country for citizens of every race, color, religion, and creed, the President continued. The President understands that conservatives and patriots must fight for cultural power as they do for political power, and pressing priority for conservatives who desire to fight back against the cultural left's domination of the educational world. And I applaud him for that. I applaud him for that. So he's literally taken apart the deep state government that they have infiltrated for the last 50 years, and they have been abusing our judicial system. They have been abusing everything, as we know, in every level. And President Trump is dismantling all that, and he's restoring our America, the true America. Okay, so now that Ruth Bader Ginsberg has passed away, now we're going to have a big fight for which president is going to be able to fill that seat. And so we're going to have the Republicans on one side, which would be McConnell, pushing to have an elective put in. And then on the other side, they're going to be pushing for it to wait until after the election so that it gives him an opportunity, meaning Biden, an opportunity to be able to pick the next successor to RBG's position. So let's give a listen to what Biden has to say.
Tonight And in the coming days, we should focus on the loss of the justice and her enduring legacy. But there is no doubt, let me be clear, that the voters should pick the president, and the president should pick the justice for the Senate to consider. This was the position of the Republican Senate took in 2016 when there were almost 10 months to go before the election. That's the position the United States Senate must take today, and the election is only 46 days off. I think the fastest justice ever confirmed was 47 days, and the average is closer to 70 days. And so we should do this with full consideration, and that is my hope and expectation what will happen. Thank you all, and I'm sorry we had to learn it on the plane ride, but thank you very much.
Mr. Carter, how did you find out about the test tonight? Would you like to change your position on adding more justices to the court, sir?
Of course, he doesn't answer any more questions.
Today, my administration is making the largest emergency relief award in history to rebuild Puerto Rico's electrical grid and educational system. We're awarding $13 billion to permanently repair and replace thousands of miles of transmission and distribution lines that should have been done many years ago. This was beyond even the storms. This was just age and a lot of the salt. The salt from that ocean is a killer for electrical stations and power generation systems. But on top of the salt, you had these massive storms or hurricanes come in. So we're going to bring pharmaceutical manufacturing back to Puerto Rico. A lot of it left over the years, over a long period of time. It's been leaving and going to China and other places. So we're bringing all of that back. This was done in previous administrations, I'd like to just point out. And then Obama came in and it got worse. So for the people of Puerto Rico, they were a disaster for you. And I have to say, in a very nice way, a very respectful way, I'm the best thing that ever happened to Puerto Rico. Nobody even close.
A few minutes ago, the U.S. Forest Service said 14 firefighters and bulldozer operators have been injured battling a blaze in Northern California. 3 of the workers are hospitalized tonight. Wildfires are churning through a bone-dry California. Rescue helicopters airlifting hundreds of people to safety today. The state has already set a record with 2 million acres burned this year. Correspondent Jeff Paul takes a look at the situation on the West Coast from L.A. tonight.
The West is burning. Dozens of wildfires sparking throughout Washington, Oregon, and California have firefighters working around the clock and some folks running for their lives.
The whole time I was calm, and then I just broke down because I saw the flames, how big they were and how close to the road that they were getting to all of us.
Others didn't have the option of leaving and were stranded by the flames. The creek fire burning just outside of Fresno, California in the Sierra Nevadas trapped hundreds of people who were surrounded by a wall of fire in every direction. Today, the California National Guard forced to airlift more than 100 people and even some dogs to safety. At least 25 major wildfires are burning in the Golden State, many with little to no containment. And while scorching triple-digit temperatures are set to drop, the winds are now on course to strengthen.
It's really a two-pronged 1-2 punch for us because it really just reduces our ability to stop these fires.
The fires have caused tens of thousands to lose power in their homes up and down the western United States. But some are now facing the devastating reality they don't even have a house to return to.
Everything gone. Clothes, beds, everything.
While heat and fires plague California and the Pacific Northwest, in Colorado, just the opposite is happening as scorching Labor Day temperatures drop 50 to 70 degrees, causing snow to fall in parts of the state. Firefighters are now bracing for the incoming Santa Ana winds, which could cause some of those fires to grow. Even more troubling, the already record-breaking fire season still has 4 more months to go. Brett?
Jeff Paul in L.A. Jeff, thanks.
The smoke is so bad that it has literally come into Reno because, you know, we're close to the California border. I mean, Lake Tahoe is just right up there. Lake Tahoe changes from Nevada into California just by crossing the street. So we're being inundated with all that smoke, and it's just really been awful. So it's very thick. It's very bad for those people that have a hard time breathing as it is. So we'd, you know, give some prayers to everyone because we're all suffering. On the East Coast, they've got the Hurricane Sally that came through. So a lot of people are displaced right now. They have no homes to go to. And we know that weather is controlled. I know I shouldn't say that because I'm going to be bombarded with people saying, well, how do you know that? Prove it. But we've known for a long time that when anything that's good that's coming up, anything that's big, that's generated to take the nation's attention, the bad people tend to develop new circumstances in different places around the world. You know, look here, not there's what it is. And so to me, these are all generated. I know that there were a lot of people that they were, well, not a lot, there were about, I think, 4 guys that they had picked up for arson over in Oregon. So, you know, I've seen aerial shots of like radiation being sent down like a laser strike. And if you see an aerial shot from above, you'll notice that it just follows the roadway. It's the strangest fire you've ever seen. Look into that. A lot of the news are giving information, or look up NASA. They'll give you some overhead views of this fire and what's going on. And all that smoke. That's in Tahoe, Lake Tahoe. It's been gray. Our city has been literally gray for a month. It's really sad. So, if we can give some prayers to the firefighters, the people that have been displaced, and we need rain over there. We really need rain. There's Emerald Bay. Okay, so I wanted to share that with you.
Sounds like a drum train. There's a big locomotive rolling down the tracks, a big steam engine pumping fire and facts, and all aboard if you want to keep it rocking. Been a rolling for years and no signs of stopping. The sun
I just thought I'd end this video with a nice little song, but I'm only going to give you partial because if I don't, they'll ding me, and I don't need that. The Trump Train song is by J. Heath Graham. You can find him on YouTube. And drop by, give him a listen, finish the rest of that song, and give him a thumbs up. Okay, that's all I have for you today. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Be sure to keep the sunshine in your heart. Walk around with a smile on your face, love in your heart, and share that with others, okay? That's what makes this world go round. And that's what keeps your energies high, your vibrations high, and that's what keeps that smile on your face. Okay? Live, love, and laugh, right? Love you, see you, bye.